Hello everyone. In this video, we discuss about the assessment and the purpose of assessment. The first, we move on to the definition of the assessment. Here, according to Allen, assessment involves the use of experimental data on students' learning to refine programs and improve students' learning. Assessment is considered as a part of teaching learning process, and it often categorized as assessment of learning, assessment for learning, and assessment as learning. The first one is assessment of learning. Assessment of learning refers to strategies designed to confirm what students know and to demonstrate whether or not they have achieved the specific academic standard. It is also called as summative evaluation. And also, this is the procedure to announce the final verdict on the performance of children in the achievement of academic standard, and this estimate the student progress based on the external test. Here the summative evaluation assesses the student performance. The first one is when. Here when at the end of the instructional period. Why? Collect evidence of student knowledge and skill or proficiency. How? Via exit learning product or cumulative assessment. Here the assessment of learning have some process. First, they determine outcome and provide learning opportunities and measure effectiveness. And the fourth one is use result for improvement. It is also called the foundational document of vision, mission, and strategic plan and values. Next, the assessment for learning. It is also called as the formative evaluation. The assessment for learning is an approach to teaching and learning that creates feedback which is then used to improve student performance. Students become more involved in the learning process and from this gain confidence in what they more expected to learn and what standard. It is an important process in teaching learning process. It enables the teacher to know where children have trouble or where they stop and what confusion stand in their way of learning. And it focuses on learning how to learn. It also helps to future learning. The formative assessment helps students to learn and practice. When here the throughout the course. Why? Identify gaps and improve learning. How? Via approaches that support specific student needs. Here the assessment for learning. Here the 5 key strategies. The first one is questioning. The second one sharing, learning expectations. Third one feedback. Fourth one peer assessment. And fifth one is a self-assessment. These are the strategies for the assessment for learning. Assessment as learning. Assessment as learning occur when students are their own accessors. Students monitor their own learning, ask questions and usage of strategies to decide what they know and can do and how to use assessment for new learning. Here the functions of assessment as learning are to find the achievement of the students, for promotion and placement used to plan future learning goals and pathway for students. And it also provides the evidence of achievement to the wider community, including parents, educators, the students themselves and outside the group. It also provides a transparent interpretation across all audience. Next, the difference between the assessment for learning and assessment of learning. Here the for learning is a formative during learning and off learning is a summative is after learning. Is a forward looking and is a backward looking. In assessment for learning, the teachers, students and parents are users. Here the teacher, principal, policy makers are users. Used for what and how to improve their achievement in assessment for learning. Here the assessment of learning used to certify students' competence. It used to identify and respond to students' needs in the assessment for learning. An assessment of learning used to rank and sort students. In assessment for learning, here the purpose is to improve learning. In assessment of learning, here the purpose the document achievement of the standard. Here the primary motivator believe the success is achievable. Here threat of punishment and promise of reward. Assessment for learning is a continuous process. Assessment of learning is a periodic process. Example, peer assessment using rubrics are for examples, etc. Here the assessment of learning examples, final exam, placement test, and self-assessments and examples are etc. Here the three: assessment for learning, assessment as learning, and assessment of learning. The first one is assessment for learning. It assesses students' progress and learning needs. Here as learning, the students' cognition about their learning. The of learning indicate the what students have learned. Here the next point, the students are involved in the assessment process. Here the students are actively involved in the monitoring and assessing for learning, and the students are not directly involved in their assessment process. And the descriptive feedback is essential in creating learning strategies. Here the teacher shows students how to do self-assessed, and they certify the students' competence. And the next, the teacher student work together to improve their student learning in the assessment for learning. Here the teacher provides students an opportunities to practice self-monitoring and self-reflections. An assessment of learning may increase or decrease learners' motivation and promote making or sorting of students. It is a continuous process. Assessment as learning also a continuous process. And next one, it increases learners' motivation. Here the teacher guides students in setting learning goals. Here they reveal students' level of understanding. Here they provide clear learning targets for students. Here the teacher guides students in setting learning goals. Here less emphasis on improvement students' learning. The students learn to differentiate good work and weak work. The students access their own learning and emphasis accountability to meet students. It's standard in students at standard level. In assessment for learning, both the teacher and the student assess the students' learning and improve the students' learning and motivation, and teachers assess students' learning. These are the some key points of assessment for learning and assessment as learning and assessment of learning. Thank you.